Hey everyone, my name is Jamie Leigh. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching this video today. Now today we are going to be taking a look at Shaperx, which is a dupe of Skims that is available on Amazon, and comparing it directly to the viral Skims bodysuits. This is specifically an idea that I've had for a while that I thought wouldn't be too interesting of a video, so I was like, I'll just make it a YouTube short, and I did. But there is so much interesting information here that I wanted to share that obviously in a 1-minute video I cannot get to. So I decided I would make a full-length video as well about this and basically just go over the findings, specifically what I wanted to do with this and what I did in the shorter video. I want to compare how much these bodysuits actually take off your waist, how much they're snatching you in, because to me that's really why people are buying these bodysuits, and a dupe is only as good as the actual results of how much it is sucking in your waist. And to make sure we are really comparing apples to apples here, I'm going to be trying on and measuring myself in both the Shaperx and the Skims bodysuit in the exact same mid-thigh version, and both will be in the size large/extra large. Now I also have independent reviews of the Shaperx shapewear, including a whole bunch of different items in their shapewear range, and of the Skims shapewear and Skims dresses. So if you want to see one of those specific reviews, I will link those down below, but today we're going to be more so looking at the differences between them and which one I recommend between Skims and the Shaperx dupe. And since I know a lot of people are not necessarily going to watch all the way to the end, I want to say unequivocally, I recommend the Shaperx dupe over Skims 100% of the time. I think it outperforms Skims in every single different way that we're going to look at them today. It's cheaper, it's been more durable in my experience, it's comfier, and it takes more inches off your waist. But we are going to go through all of those things one by one, so if you want to see the direct comparisons and a little bit of an experiment, stick around. Now the first thing that I want to compare between the two of them, and I do have the Skims bodysuit on under the dress, and we'll take off the dress and look at it specifically and also compare what they both look like under a dress. But the Skims bodysuit costs $120 Canadian. Now obviously it will be slightly less if you live in the US, but it is a very expensive piece of shapewear. It's more expensive than any other shapewear I've ever owned. By comparison, the Shaperx one regular price is $59.99 on Amazon, and ironically I just looked it up right now to double check the price, and at the time of filming this video it's on sale for $18. So you can get incredible crazy sales on this. I definitely recommend keeping it in your wish list maybe and seeing when there's a sale, but even at regular price you could buy 2 of these for the price of 1 of the Skims. Now in terms of fabric composition, the Skims one that I have is 79% nylon and 21% spandex. It looks like on their website, since me buying this one last year, they now have 1% more spandex, so 22% spandex, 78% nylon, versus the Shaperx one is 80% nylon and 20% spandex. So they are very, very similar. The ones that I have, it's a 1% difference. Both of them have adjustable straps. They both have an open gusset at the bottom so that you can go pee with it on, which is good because it would be annoying to have to take them on and off multiple times. With both, I would say you don't necessarily need to wear a bra with them. They aren't giving you like a ton of support, but if you're going for like a more natural look under a dress, I think that they're fine. You could also wear a bra underneath them if you wanted to. And both of them, in addition to snatching your waist, will like smooth out any cellulite and smooth out and round out your hips. So those are really where they are similar. But now I think it's time to take off the dress and look at how they differ, because there are some pretty big differences in my opinion. All right, so this is the Skims bodysuit on. Now I do have pasties on and I have underwear on, so if you see any pink, it's underwear, don't worry. So this bodysuit goes down to mid-thigh. It definitely does flatten out your tummy a bit. It definitely sucks you in at the waist. However, one of my biggest gripes with this bodysuit is it's not very comfortable to put on and off. Once you have it on, it is okay. The straps I find dig in a little bit and end up irritating me. And I think part of that is just how they're sewn. Like they're not very neat on the edges. So it really digs in on my shoulders and ends up being a little bit annoying. Putting this this bodysuit on, it feels a lot tighter. So when you're putting it on, you really need to put like one foot in, then the other foot, and then pull it all up at once. Otherwise it ends up bunching up and really hurts your legs, or at least my legs. But arguably my biggest complaint about this Skims shapewear is it has 2 rips in it. This is a $120 piece of shapewear, and it has 2 giant holes in it. One at the front and one at the back as well. And that is just absolutely unacceptable to me. And for reference, I have worn this one fewer times than I've worn the Shaperx one. Not to mention, even at full price, I could have replaced the Shaperx one already once if it had have broken, and I still would have been ahead of the Skims. So that's very disappointing, and that alone would make me never want to buy another Skims shapewear piece in the future. They're just not durable enough for you to wear for a long time. It feels like they really were made to be like one-time things that you wear to one event. And I don't have $120 per event to waste on shapewear. Now for the pretty interesting information, in my opinion, the tape measure. So I measured myself this morning, and right now my waist is sitting at around 32 inches, just like completely standing straight, measured in front of a mirror so I can look at it. With the Skims shapewear on, I'm sitting at around 30 inches. So that is pretty good. Like that is 2 inches off my waist when I'm wearing this. And like I said, it definitely flattens out your tummy as well and rounds out your bum, flattens down any cellulite so you can't see it. And that I think is why I really like the mid-thigh version as well, because it does that on your legs also. But now let's throw on the Shaperx one and do the comparison. And spoiler alert, I already know the answer because I did this the other day as well. So with the Shaperx mid-thigh bodysuit on, once again in the exact same size large/extra large in this, I'm sitting at around 29 inches on the waist. That is a pretty crazy difference. So that is 3 inches off and an extra inch over the Skims one for a bodysuit that is half the price and is more comfortable. Something that's so interesting about this to me is since getting this Shaperx bodysuit, have gravitated towards it so much. I almost never reach for my Skims one. I wear this one significantly more often. I've worn this one for entire days at a time, and it stays feeling very comfortable. But for some reason, I always just assumed like, oh, it's more comfortable because it's not sucking me in as much. It must not be doing as much as the Skims. And that's clearly a bad assumption on my part because the tape measure does not lie. And I want to be abundantly clear that this is not a sponsored video. I was not asked to make this video. I've not been paid to make this video. This was just my morbid curiosity, basically being like, well, this one's more comfortable, but is the Skims one sucking me in that much more that it would be worth the extra money? And the answer is no. The Skims one is not as good. So I was very shook when I found that out for the first time, and I had to share that information with the internet because for some reason I do see people talk about like Skims dupes, and I've seen a couple people talk about Shaperx, but I've never seen like a direct comparison in terms of actual inches before, and the results really surprised me. So now that we know that the Shaperx one is better in terms of cost and taking inches off your waist, let me tell you the other reasons why I personally prefer this one and would recommend it to anybody. So number one, the straps sit a little bit further out, which for me is completely negating that problem I was having with Skims where they sit more in on the center and they end up digging into me. These ones are a little bit wider and they just fit my body a lot better. They sit really comfortably, more where a bra strap would sit. And this also means that under a dress, like under the little Skims dresses, you don't have to worry about this entire portion sticking out above the dress, which I'm sure you noticed when I had the Skims on, you do, because it sits so much further in. I find that this one gives me a lot more space for my boobs, which I really appreciate. This one also doesn't go quite as far down on my thighs. I understand that, especially if you're tall, maybe you actually prefer the Skims one, how it comes down a lot further. But for me, Skims almost comes to my knees, and under any dress that isn't a maxi dress, that's just too long on me. So I do really prefer these ones. And with these ones, I can pull them up a little bit if I need to make them fit under something shorter. There is zero possibility I could ever do that with Skims because the thighs roll. Whereas you'll notice this one, even when it's pulled up like this, doesn't roll at all, even if I'm like moving my leg around. The Skims one would just roll up like this and end up cutting off your circulation, and it would be excruciating. And on a similar note, putting the Skims one on and taking it off is so unbelievably painful, which I think is why I assumed it must suck me in so much, because it hurts to put on and off because it's so tight. This one does not feel tight when you're putting it on. You can stretch it. I still recommend the same thing. Put one leg in, then the other, then pull it all up at once, but it's not going to hurt you to put it on. If you did not want to use the open gusset to go pee, you could take this one down like you would a normal bodysuit, go pee and pull it back up. It would not be the end of the world. The Skims one, people would hear you grunting in the bathroom and you'd be sweating once you got it back on. And like I mentioned, I have worn this one for much longer and for more events than I've worn the Skims one. And the Skims one has two holes, one at the front, one at the back. They're both pretty big. This one is like fabric pulling everywhere. I'm even noticing actually a third hole on the leg right now. And I want to be abundantly clear. I wash this on a delicate wash in cold water and I lay it flat to dry. When I put it on, I'm as gentle as I can be. I roll up the leg, I step in, and then I pull it up. It's just not well constructed, so it's literally falling apart at the seams after 1 year. So I would consider this to be a waste of money. When you can buy this one on Amazon, it'll show up to you within like 2 days with Prime shipping. It feels great, it fits great, it's snatching you even more than Skims ever could, and just like the Skims, it looks adorable under a bodycon dress. As you can see, it does give you a little bit of lift. I'm not wearing a bra or anything, just the pasties and the bodysuit. You look super curvy, super hourglass, but you're also still comfortable, which I think is probably the most important thing, especially if you're planning on wearing this to like a dinner or something. Truly, I am planning on going back to every Skims video I've ever made and adding a pinned comment that says, hey, before you buy this super expensive Skims bodysuit, maybe consider this dupe instead, because I feel so strongly about people not wasting their money. And I really feel like at this point, the Skims one is a waste of money when you can buy one for half the price that is better in every way. Now, the one thing I would still consider buying from Skims in the future is dresses. The way that the Skims dresses are made, and I've talked about this at length in past videos about Skims, so I'll keep it brief. They are designed to really like have an hourglass shape, even just when they're hanging on a hanger or laying flat on the ground. When you have like this kind of shapewear on, or if you're just like super curvy naturally, they really hug to that and they look so much better than a straight up and down bodycon dress will ever look on you, because it's still going to be bagged out a little bit here, which you can even just see me pulling it out a little bit. That's what you'll end up looking like in a lot of bodycon dresses, a little bit more straight up and down, versus these ones really make you look va-va-voom. And I love that. I think this is such a great look for like a date night or a nice dinner. And with that, that's all I've got for you today. I would love to know your thoughts, especially if you have tried Skims before in the past. Did you have a similar experience? Has any of your shapewear from them kind of fallen apart over time? Do you find it uncomfortable to put on? Also, are you surprised by the results? Because like I said, I was very surprised. I imagine most people will be surprised. And of course, I will share links to the different things that I'm wearing down in the description box, so if you do want to check anything out, I'll include the Canadian and the American, like the Amazon.com and .ca links for the Shaperx for the specific one that I'm getting, because I know there are lots of different ones and it can be a little confusing. But overall, I'm glad that we did this today. I'm glad that you stuck around to experience this with me. Like always, let me know if you have any questions. I hope that you have a fabulous day and that I will see you next time. Bye!